Saturated fat has quite a direct and potent effect on testosterone production. Of the free fatty acids, or of the three types of fat, like monounsaturated, polyunsaturated, saturated, saturated seems to have the strongest direct link, also mechanistically, as well as cholesterol with testosterone production, because basically all steroid hormones are produced from cholesterol, and you can produce cholesterol with saturated fat. So there is that link, but most research finds the total fat intake is most important. And then maybe saturated fat is a bit relatively more important than the others. But if you're just getting a lot of all fats, then you're probably going to be okay with a decent mix. I don't feel you have to go out of your way to make sure you're maximizing saturated fat. Also health-wise, that might not be okay for all people. And then cholesterol is interesting. I wrote an article which I called Cholesterol the Forgotten Anabolic, where I argue basically that we actually have quite some research indicating cholesterol, both mechanistically via, for example, lipid raft formation and anabolic signaling, and via improving hormone production, can aid muscle growth and increase protein synthesis, even acutely, which is probably due to the lipid raft formation, potentiating anabolic signaling. And research directly in strength trainees has been quite mixed on this. A recent study, the last one on this, did not see a difference in muscle growth or strength development, but they found greater fat loss in the group consuming higher cholesterol intake, which would suggest that they were in greater energy deficit and still getting the same muscle growth and strength development, thereby potentially meaning if they were in the same energy balance, they could have gained more. So research is not crystal clear on this, but there are quite some hints that cholesterol has anabolic effects in muscle tissue, and it's therefore good to have maybe 300 to 400 minimum milligram cholesterol. And then for those super worried about cholesterol, oh my God, it's going to clog my arteries and kill me. That's probably not the case. I think even the official guidelines for Americans have now dropped cholesterol, and European guidelines as well, as being something that, well, as the media portrays it, as like it's going to, it's something you consume that clogs up your arteries and kills you. In fact, most dietary cholesterol intakes have no or minimal effects on blood cholesterol levels to begin with. Like the body regulates that quite well. So I feel it's quite safe and potentially beneficial. So I typically recommend that athletes, especially those in contest prep and super serious, they pay attention to consuming some cholesterol as well. If you have a few eggs in your diet, that's it, you're done. So it's not that hard either.